Okay.
So hello everyone and welcome to our final PYF Winter Academy workshop. Last but definitely not the least. And today's topic, as you all know, is Business Bonanza. Basically, you're in for a challenge. And I hope you guys are ready for it because you will be judged. Anyhow, so before we get started, first, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Bushra, and I am the current head of education at the PYF, and I'm joined by two amazing volunteers who have been a huge part of the Winter Academy, Zahid and Dabish. I'll let you guys introduce yourself briefly.
Hi everyone, this is Zahid, the PYF volunteer, and happy to be with all of you today. Thank you. Enjoy the workshop.
Hi everyone. So my name is Dabish, and I've been part of PYF for a year now, and it's been really exciting so far with all these workshops happening. So looking forward to this one in particular, because it's always exciting to have these challenges when it comes to business cases. So
yes. So before we get started, I just quickly want to run through some guidelines that will help us have a good experience. The first, Mahreen, you want to say something?
No, continue.
Okay, all good. All right, so the first guideline that we have is if we were in a regular classroom, I'd ask if you please put your phones away, put your devices away, but because we're logged in from our devices, we can't do that. So instead, I'm just going to ask you to minimize those tabs and close that Instagram and Facebook and all the things you young people do these days, because I'm very old, and try to focus on the workshop so that you can make the most of it. And I do suggest that you try to keep up as much as possible because it will help you with the challenge at the end. So we've envisioned these workshops as safe spaces for students. This is not a typical classroom. You're not restricted by the same things. We want you to discuss, we want you to share your ideas. There's no such thing as a dumb question or a dumb answer. So withhold your judgment on others. Say if there's a slip by me or the workshop lead or someone who's asking a question, please don't judge them, be insensitive, just be respectful to everyone in the space. This is kind of important, and I see everyone sort of violating this. Please keep your cameras on as much as possible, and especially when you go into the challenge, it would really help your team if you do switch your camera on so you can interact better. We've definitely seen that workshops where attendees have their cameras on have better participation. So we cannot force you to do this, but we highly encourage you to please keep your cams on. Only Huda has the pass for this because she's making apple pie, and I think she's shipping the apple pie to all of us. So while you keep your cams open, also keep your mind wide open so that you can absorb all the information that you're about to learn. This is a workshop, not a webinar, not a lecture. It's not a one-directional thing. This is a very interactive session. So please be prepared to discuss, unmute, or type in the chat as Mahreen and Simal ask you to. And finally, have a grand time. I think we are going to have a grand time today. So I will stop sharing and hand over to Mahreen and Simal.
Awesome. Thank you, Bushra. So now I will be screen sharing. Just give me a second. Great. So hello, everyone. I'm Mahreen.
And I'm Simal.
And welcome to the Business Bonanza workshop. We're all really excited.
Yes.
And we're both really excited to see the participants. And I mean, I'm excited for the apple pie, but
yeah,
I don't know if we're gonna get it. But yeah, so let's get started.
Yeah, so before we start, we want your minds working. We want to energize your brain. We want to warm up your thinking. So we have a simple yet relevant question, and that is, which of these is a product? Here, the first one we have is apps, we have a hospital, we have restaurant, and we have phone. So write in the chat, what do you think, which one of these is a product?
So take a wild guess, whatever you think.
Yeah, there's
Whatever you think.
no judging here. We want to see all you answering.
So what do you think is a product here? The mobile phones, the apps, Okay, we're getting some answers here. Right. So some have said mobile phones, some have said all of them. Well,
So
so it's actually all of them. This was
Yeah.
a trick question because I'm pretty sure the first thing that would come to your mind is the mobile phone. That's the only product here, but we want to remove that notion from your minds that a mobile phone is not just something that's physical. A product is not something that's physical, it's also something that's intangible. So a hospital provides you with medical services, restaurant provides you with food, apps are also products. Therefore, whenever this is important later on, because whenever we talk about product features and developing product, we're not just talking about the physical features, we can also be talking about the service that the company is providing. So that's something to keep in mind. So I'm really happy to see that some of y'all did guess that it was all of them. So yeah.
And this will later be relevant when we have the challenge. So keep that in mind. So we have a question, and this question will decide and lead the workshop onwards. So in the chat, please let me know if you would be a CEO of a company in the world, what company would you choose? Anyone, some Apple, Microsoft, McDonald's, if you like McDonald's. I love McDonald's. I would happily be the CEO of McDonald's. But write in the chat what CEO of a company would you want to be?
Any company at all.
Yeah. We want answers. We want
McDonald's just because the pies.
Of course,
pies. Free burgers. Apple, interesting. Free MacBooks.
anyone else? Everyone.
Well, a lot of people want to be
okay.
the CEO of Apple, Microsoft.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we have some different answers here. Some want to be the CEO of McDonald's, some Apple, some Microsoft. And here there's Kareem here. This is a logo of Kareem. So what if we'll narrow it down, okay? So what if you're the CEO of, what if you really like going to places but you don't have a car? And so you invented this company that allows you to go to different places even if you don't have a car. Do you have any companies in mind? Does this ring a bell? What do y'all think?
Sorry, what's the question? One more time, please.
Yeah, so I said that if you really like going to places, right? You really like traveling to different places, moving from one place to another, but you don't have a car to do that. So you founded a company that helps people to move from one place to another, even if they don't have a car. So it's
Does any
company
ring a bell in mind?
Any ideas? Okay, so we have Uber, we have Kareem. Nice. If you had to choose between Uber, Kareem, which company's CEO would you beat for today?
I would choose Uber.
Uber, yeah.
Uber.
And my reasoning would be very different from others. So I would let others tell their reasoning of choosing Uber.
Yeah, please feel free. You can open your mics up and tell your reason behind why would you want to be the CEO of Uber or Kareem.
If anyone wants to unmute themselves, because Uber has helicopter taxi. Awesome.
How about
I think Uber is more international. Makes sense. Well, unfortunately, your dream will not come true right now, not for Uber, but you will become the CEO of Kareem for today. Maybe Uber some other time, maybe later, you never know. But for right now, you are. For today,
you are now the CEO of Kareem.
So Hello, CEOs. We have so many CEOs,
Yeah.
but each of you are an individual CEO of Kareem, and you will be taking some important strategic decisions on how Kareem will grow, on its growth strategies.
Yeah. So before we start the workshop, we want to let you know the learning objectives. The main reason we created this workshop was because of questions we've had and also what we've heard from others. Like whenever successful companies like Apple or Amazon come up with products, how do they know they would become so successful, and how do they know it would stay so long? So
Yeah, and so that is why we want to provide you with the tool that will allow you to analyze and to make strategic decisions and to understand how businesses make strategic decisions. So you can be a part of this conversation, and that would also enhance your problem solving skills. And this is not the main objective, but it's a bonus at the end of this workshop. You will sound really smart in conversations because you'll be able to use some little business terms here and there as well, which we'll touch upon. So that's that.
yeah, and the structure of the workshop, we're going to have an interactive session where we all are going to be the CEO of Kareem, and together we will analyze your business and come up with strategical growth and come up with a growth strategy. And in the end of the workshop, we're going to have an exciting challenge. So I can't wait for that, where we're going to provide you with another company, which will be revealed later, where a winner will be selected.
So
So
please be attentive. We'll be asking
yeah,
questions here and there, but the main challenge is at the end when you have to make the strategic decision all by yourself with the data that we provide. So let's get started. I hope you all are excited. Right. So I'm pretty sure all of you know what Kareem is. Just to confirm, does everyone know what Kareem is? What does it do? Have y'all used Kareem before?
just type yes or no in the chat if you are familiar with Green.
Or no, as in you don't know, or you've never used it before? Used it, and I know. Yeah, so I guess most of y'all have not used it, but I'm pretty sure all of you know what Kareem is. We'll give you a brief intro on what it is, though.
Yeah, so basically, it's mainly used or known for its transportational features, but it also has delivery and payments. And it operates in over 100 cities across 14 countries, and um, it has created more than 1 million employment opportunities in the region.
Right. So we all probably know about its transportation services, but it's interesting to note that they also provide deliveries and payments. That's just a note. Right. So we're all talking about decision making, problem solving, analysis. So there's actually a term for this when we think of these strategies and how to come up with that. It's called strategic management, and there this process of coming up with these decisions, we've put it into 4 steps. So these we will all be walking through these 4 steps, and as we walk through these 4 steps, we will be analyzing Kareem. We'll be and the end will be coming up with a growth strategy. But in addition, we did mention that some of the tools that we've used are also helpful to you as a person, for you to make your own personal decisions. Even though these are tools used by businesses, there are some tools that you can use in your own personal lives as well.
Right. Yes. And so the first step in the process is objectives. And in objectives come mission, vision statements, there's values. I think we've all heard of mission and vision statements of companies, but these are Do you know the difference between the two? Please write if you know the difference between the mission and vision statement.
What do you guys know about these statements? I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure all of you have heard of businesses having these mission statements and these vision statements. So what do
Yeah.
you think these are?
And why are
What's
they
the
so
difference?
important?
You can raise your hand to unmute yourself if you'd like, or you can just put it up in the chat. Any answers? Welcome.
To be honest, I've written quite a few as a copywriter in company profiles, but I'm still not very clear. And I think most entrepreneurs are also not very clear.
Yeah. Vision is an idea of what the company hopes to achieve, and mission is the steps they take to achieve it. Definitely, I think most businesses, most entrepreneurs themselves are unaware of the difference. It's quite common, it's quite normal. Don't worry about it. So that's why we're here to help you out on that. And actually, Iman, how do uh, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. But yeah, you got it right.
Basically, yeah, that's definition wise, I would say that the mission statement defines the company's business, its objectives, and its approach to reach the objective. And the vision statement describes the desired future position of the company. And this can also be applied to yourself. And that's where my next question comes. Have you ever created your own vision and mission in your own lives?
What are your
And
missions in life? Vision, it can be anything from um, climbing the Mount
Mount Everest.
Everest, or something like winning the Nobel Prize, anything at all. What are your goals? We'd love for you to mention, because we're gonna use it later on as
so
well.
your vision in life, we're gonna
To get into a good
That's
med
a
school. Great. We wish you the best of luck in that, and we'll help you out, because we're
yeah,
gonna give you some
this
tools.
is going to be used. I could give an example so that everyone can think of theirs. So for example, as an example, my vision is to become a manager. So then my mission is to get into a good university and get a degree. That means the objectives will be to get good grades, to enter university, and to find a job that will lead you to become a manager. So that's what this.
So Bushra has also given an answer here. Vision to make homes safer and more effective learning environment for children. And your mission is to get a PhD in education. Yes, awesome.
Yes, you
That's
got
very,
it.
very inspiring as well. And
Yeah.
yes, you got it. So anyone else would like to share it? Get graduated from a well-known university. Awesome. Good luck with all your, these are really inspiring missions and goals, and we wish everyone the best of luck for all of this. And so since Iman, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, you replied first. Will you choose yours?
Yeah, I think we can choose.
Yeah, so to get into a good med school. So we're going to be using this objective later on when we're going to be discussing the tools. So yeah, great. It was really nice to know all of your missions and objectives. So now,
So all organizations have values they hold that define the organization's beliefs and how people in the organization are expected to behave. So, which is also connected to its mission and vision. So, we're going to have a short quiz, and we're going to see if you can identify Kareem's values by looking at their mission and vision statements. And we have numbered each value, and you can just type in the chat if which values you think are a part of Kareem's company.
so you have to kind of link it to their mission vision, because why this is that's why it's important, because it should all be linked together. Whatever strategies you choose, whatever decisions you make should link back to your initial goal and objective. So let's see if you can match
Guess it right. Yes.
Yeah, if you can match the values to Kareem's mission and vision.
And there's more than one answer, so feel free to pick as many as you think that are right.
You can just in the chat, you can just mention the numbers. So we've numbered them. So okay, so Iman says 5.
Okay.
Collaboration amongst each other.
Yeah.
Okay. Huda says 4 and 5. Okay. Hassan says 2 and 5. Okay. And then we have 6. So we have actually quite different answers. I think the common number is probably 5, but other than that, it's quite different. 2 and 6. 3 and 6. Okay, so let's
see if you got it right.
3, 4, 5, 6.
Wow, many. So yeah, 1, 5, and 3 were the right values. You don't want to say why they're not?
Yeah. So 1, 5, and 3 were the right ones. Why it was not 4, 2, and 6, even though they are quite important values, it's not exactly relevant to Kareem's mission, because even though diversity, creativity, celebrating differences are all important, Kareem's mission is more on the technological side, on how to be more bold and how to be with its app, how to be more productive and more flexible, which is why number 3 is the value, as well as collaboration, because it plans to grow and it plans to incorporate so many of these different services to its platform. And yeah, so even though 2, 4, 2, and 6 are important, they were not relevant. And why we needed to do this was because whatever strategies we come up with should be related to Kareem's mission and Kareem's values. So this will kind of make sure that we're going in the right path and in the right direction, and will prevent us from diverting. Wait, not that sure about 6. What do you mean?
Oh, just that if they're living up to it, that's all. I was being controversial.
Oh, okay. I thought you sent it earlier. Okay. Yeah, it does kind of link, but I guess that's not their priority right now. Yeah. So let's move on to the next one. Right. So we talked about the objectives now.
Now we're going to go into the second part, the second step, which is the strategic analysis. So you probably heard of different types of tools companies use to analyze their decisions strategically. What do you think? What are the any guesses?
What kinds of tools do companies usually use? Any guesses?
Yeah.
Even though that's why we're here, but we'd love to see if you guys can
know any of them or heard of them.
To analyze their data, what kind of tools would they use to analyze their own company? Data analytics related tools. Guessing here, SWOT.
Yes. You got
yeah,
it.
Even what Hassan said, makes sense. We're not, I mean, there's a lot of tools that,
yes.
Oh wow, a lot of people are aware. Porter's 5 forces. Yes. Whoa, this is
That's
nice.
Great. So you guys all guessed it. There's many tools, but the ones we chose to further consider and the most popular one are SWOT analysis and PESTLE. So now we're going to
just a second. It I will screen share again. It paused for a bit.
So here's
Where did they go? Sorry about that. I'm screen sharing again. Yes. I hope it's working now. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously there's many, but the most popular are SWOT analysis and PESTEL. And we're going to actually use it for, should I explain?
Yeah. Yeah, so both SWOT and PESTEL. Maybe we can ask you guys, since a lot of you did mention SWOT and PESTEL, what is SWOT analysis and what is PESTEL analysis? Anything at all, whatever you know about it, even though we have a little bit of information here, but just explain it in your own words. What do you know about SWOT analysis? Have you used it before?
Yeah, that will come into our next slide.
You can also unmute yourself if you'd like to talk.
Have you ever conducted a personal SWOT analysis of yourself?
On all strategy projects.
So we all know that the businesses use SWOT analysis and PESTEL and all of these, but have you guys personally used these in your own lives?
Have you conducted a personal SWOT analysis to see where you're at, what your strengths are, what you need to work on, and what your goals are, and so on?
Do you think we can objectively do that for ourselves? Or should we have someone else do it for us?
Oh, that's a good question. That's also what we were gonna cover. That it's hard for us to kind of identify our own strengths, and even though it's kind of easy to identify weaknesses, but relatively hard to see like opportunities, to see strengths, and so on. So I think it's like a collaborative effort where you kind of brainstorm your own and also ask others, people, especially people who you're close to.
But yeah, it all starts with you, and if you haven't ever, now is the chance, because we're going to do that. Go to the next one.
When subject you ask a question like about strengths, and probably in interviews as well, you know. Right, let's go to the next slide.
Right, so we're going to actually conduct SWOT analysis together. So are there any brave volunteers that would like to share their strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities and threats they have? Please raise your hand if you want to, or unmute yourself.
So this is a personal SWOT analysis, but again, these are used by businesses, which we do cover later on. But this is just a little activity so that we get a clear picture of what a SWOT analysis
what
is.
you can do in your free time, or when you.
I nominate
Farhan.
Yeah, would you be willing to? Aisha nominates you. Anyone who would be willing to share.
And no worries, we're not here to judge. We this will help everyone, you know, go where.
I can chat. Awesome.
Yeah.
So let's start off with strengths. What do you think your strengths are? We can name maybe like 2 to 3, whatever you think your strengths are. And I think Aisha, you probably know for her, if you'd like to pitch in, because you do know him, you can also pitch in and, you know, brainstorm along with
nominate Aisha to do the SWOT analysis for Farhad. So good.
Yes.
So you can chat. You're a people's person.
Should we write?
Diplomacy, negotiation, and business acumen. Whoa, that's some really cool strengths right there. I fear that maybe too many.
No worries about that.
No, I feel like this is a a session where you can talk anything about yourself, whatever your strengths are, and there's never too many.
Yeah. But I think
Okay,
that's
so
good for the strengths.
yes.
part,
So what about your weaknesses? Would you like to name a few?
We can be honest, like for example, I can give an example of my weakness. I'm very impatient, so I don't like to. I would say that um, I don't like to waste time on many things, so that's why I'm very impatient. For example, shopping. I don't like shopping because I have to wait there always for my mom. But yeah.
Okay, so lack of emotional intelligence, procrastination, laziness, unhealthy lifestyle. I think a lot of us
Yeah,
go
we
through
all
all
have
that.
that.
Like literally all of them, I'm like, take, that's me, that's me.
Yeah.
I think we all go through that at least, you know, once in our life,
Exactly.
procrastination,
I'm
laziness.
always that's like one of mine.
Yeah. Right. So opportunities and threats for the examples.
In opportunities, I would say, for example, internships is an opportunity. For example, if I want to be a manager, then opportunity is to get a degree. So that would be opportunity. Or I have a lot of network, so I know a lot of people in different places. So that will help me get a job. So that's an opportunity.
That would probably go under threats,
Threat.
unless
Unless it's something.
it's something that positively impacted you.
Yeah.
I mean, it did, like, it's a double-edged sword. I'm pretty sure that impacted all of us in both different ways. Yeah. Business partnerships, mentoring, social impact service.
Yes. Opportunities.
Cool. These are so that shows why you're I guess a people's yeah, sorry.
Just in case you guys are confused, he's a 29-year-old business owner. So like his opportunities are not going to be internship, but
yeah, so I guess that links to your strengths of being like a people's person, you know, being able to connect with others. So that's really cool. So what do you think threatens some of the things you can do? What are the threats in your lives that could impact you? Overworking. I guess that would go a bit under weakness, maybe being a workaholic. I don't know. Threats is there anything
Externally, right?
yeah, as Tabish mentioned, externally, that's okay. Economic uncertainty, especially during this time. That's true. I think that's impacting all of us. Yeah, so I think we've gotten like a picture of the strengths, weakness, opportunity, threats. This is what businesses do, but you can do it for yourself as well to see what you need to work on, what strengths you have that you can leverage, and what opportunities that you have that you need to capture, and what are things that you need to avoid. So this is a great tool for yourself as well. Lockdown in the UK, that is unfortunate. We wish you the best of luck staying at home. Stay safe, wear mask, apply social distance. I think global penny should now be on. Yeah, yeah, so true. Right, so great. We've done our SWOT analysis. Thank you very much, Farhad. Yeah, I said Farhad, and then Bushra said Farhad. So I think that's how we pronounce it. Thank you so much for volunteering. It was wonderful getting to know you better through this little SWOT analysis. Let's move on. So we've talked about analysis, we've talked about objectives, which were the first two steps. But after doing all these analysis, we have to think of the different options we have, the different strategies that we can the different paths that we can take, and then we have to decide which is the best path to take. So we have, I'm pretty sure we've all been a dilemma where we've had to choose between so many different options. When I go to the supermarket, there's just so many different milk brands that I get so confused. Like, I'm pretty sure we've all been there, right? But imagine like what businesses have to go through, what kind of different strategies that they have, and they have to choose like the best one. So therefore, now we'll be going through the strategic choice, the third part of this process. Right. So
one of the ways to choose is by using an analysis called force field analysis, and we're going to do this together. So this will now, all the other past things we've talked about will come here. So looking back at our mission and vision statement, we're going to decide, and the mission and the vision we had in mind was.
So we're gonna take a goal that we've mentioned earlier, and based on that, we're gonna see how we can build this forceful analysis. I believe one of the objectives mentioned earlier was to go to med school, to get into a good med school.
So that will be our personal goal. So
let's write go to a good med school, right? So now that we have our objective in mind, so this is obviously a simplified version of the forceful analysis, but it is a way for us to kind of understand how this framework works, and also apply to ourselves.
So the decision, our personal goal would be if we should go to a good med school. So we're gonna name few driving forces. So what is motivating us to go to a med school, and what are the restraining forces? What are keeping us from going to a good med school?
Like, what are things that are kind of stopping you, or what are the reasons that you may not want to go to med school? Maybe some sort of forces that are halting or putting a halt to your journey.
So we're gonna first write down the driving forces. So all of you can participate, write in the chat or unmute yourselves. What do you think would be the driving forces if your personal goal was to go to a good med school?
So I think Huda was the one who mentioned that. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. So I think Huda was the one who said she wanted to go into a good med school. If you are, please say yes or no in the chat. And Huda, would you like to tell us what you think is motivating you? What are the driving forces that are pushing you to go to med school, and what are the forces that are maybe sorry to help people to discover new things?
Not being poor.
Pain of being poor.
So I think we can write those as the driving forces.
Okay, so Iman, would you like to tell us what you think is motivating you to get into med school? What are the forces that are pushing you to do that, to help people, as Asma said? Anyone else? Let's talk about driving forces right now. Right now,
financial stability.
Okay, financial stability, a bright future. Financial stability, bright future. My dream was great.
Right now, my goal is to get this pie dough good enough for baking.
Wait, is it not ready yet?
My God, it better be before we end this workshop.
Okay, so financial stability relates to salary. So help those suffering from dental phobia when I'm a dentist. Nice. So you want to be a dentist. So I guess that comes under helping people. Awesome. So we've written down like 3 driving forces. Let's talk about restraining forces. What are some things that that could be a disadvantage of pursuing this?
The first from
and help, because I suffer a lot. Oh, really? And you want to be a dentist? That is very interesting. So since you have experienced that phobia, I guess you'll be able to kind kind of break it for others. So that's cool. Okay, financial issues. Let me. Okay, so what are we getting? Financial issues, time and effort
Fear
required.
of failure.
कैसा मैं तू नहीं गिरा मैं ना चलिए ला ऑनलाइन ये कौन है ये दबा क्लास नहीं है ये विंटर एकेडमी की वो लेनी है
बाजी माइक
Right, so we're not having enough patience.
Time and effort
Story of my
required.
life. Okay, that comes under time and effort.
Yeah.
Great. So we've written down 3 restraining forces and 3 driving forces.
Yeah.
Now what we're gonna do is
So now let's see how strong each of these forces are. So how important each of those forces are from a scale of 1 to 10. So from a scale of 1 to 10, how important do you think helping people is?
so we'll go through each factor, each force, and we're gonna rate the strength of the force. Like how important, in other words, how important do you think each factor is? So on a scale of 1 to 10, we're gonna rate it. Okay. So how important do you think this to helping people? How important is this force in encouraging you to pursue
Imam,
this
yeah.
goal?
8.
8. Okay.
So that
Okay.
would be 8. How about financial stability?
Okay.
How important
We
is
have
that?
6 also. 7, 10, right?
10 for financial.
So since it was Iman's goal, I think
10
we
for
can go
financial.
for 10 for financial. I
Mhm.
think we can go for 8 for now. What about financial
she
stability?
said
Okay, you
10.
said 10. And then we have, oh, not bright force, bright future. Right. So for bright future, what do you think?
Rate that.
What would you rate that?
I think we all want a bright future.
9, right? So
Yeah.
we've rated this. Great. Now let's look at the
Restraining forces and how strong of a
force each of this is. So financial issues, how strong of a force is this in restraining you, in hindering you from
5.5.
so 5.5. Everyone else is 10, 9, 5.5. Okay. So maybe we'll go with a bit like in between, so like 6 or 7. Okay, 6. We'll go with 6. Okay. We can go with 7. Okay. Okay. What about a fear of failure? So how strong of a force is this?
Also 7,
7?
8,
Okay,
7.
8, 7, 9. Yeah, the middle
So
number.
it's 7.
7, 8,
100.
100.
I think 100 is not in the scale, so sorry. Yeah.
Okay, a lot of people say 7, so let's go with 7. Now let's go to the last one, time and effort. So what do you think we should rate this? 10. Yeah, it does take quite a lot of time.
And you can take
6, 8. Let's go with 7. It's in between, right? So I guess, okay, so
now we need the help of mathematicians here. Who can add these numbers the fastest? So add the driving forces together and then the restraining forces alone together.
so let's see who can give us the answer the quickest. Can you add
Without a
these
calculator.
numbers? 8 plus 10 plus 9.
So 27 for the driving forces.
Yes.
Abdullah, you were quick. You win.
Now, what about for this?
So
I
that's
think
21.
this is easy. Who is the quickest?
I think he was
Oh,
21.
Ayman
no,
said 21
okay.
first. Okay. So both of you, great job.
You're
the
future
mathematicians of
Yeah, so I can highlight why it's important, why the force field analysis is important. Basically, it helps you to think about the pressures for and against an important decisions or a change in a company or yourself. So a really important decision here was if you should go to a med school. So as you can see here, that the driving forces are more than the restraining forces. So Iman, you should go for med school.
Yes.
So others can also do this. If you have a decision you don't know if you should make or not, do this, make a force field analysis and check which of the forces are higher. And if the driving forces are higher, then you should go for it. And if it's not, then you should check again and see what is restraining you.
And obviously, businesses use this framework to analyze each of their different strategies and different choices. But keep in mind that this is not the only way they make their decision. They utilize several tools, several methods to finally come up with the right strategic method. So in this case, we would have to analyze each choice and each strategy individually. We will now be talking about a different strategy that we can use to analyze the different choices that we have. And before that, let me ask you all a question. What do you think businesses use to grow? Any strategy that you can think of? What do businesses tend to use to grow? Anything at all, whatever comes to mind. Marketing, okay. More customers, yes. So marketing and promotional strategies, yes. Advertising. So we have a lot of marketing and answers that talk about marketing and promotions. Problem solving, marketing, awesome. So actually, even though there are many different directions that a business can take, we will be talking about 4 specific growth strategies that businesses can take. And these are the 4 growth strategies that we'll be talking about. Before we move on further, does anyone know what any of these words mean? Diversification, product development, what any of these strategies mean? Anyone has any idea? Any guesses based on like the words? Find how to reduce cost of sales. Yes. Market research. Yes, doing market research is definitely an important part
to
of
improve the product and reduce its price.
Reduce its cost. Yes, that's a good answer. Diversification as to what diversifying as to what the business is offering. Yes, yeah, that's kind of what diversification is. You're we'll talk about it further, but yes, you're in the right path, Sabila. Any other guesses? Right. So we have some great answers: product development, diversification. Okay, Jamila says,
Wow.
market development is a strategic step taken by a company to develop the existing market rather than looking for a new market. The company looks for new buyers to pitch the product to a different segment of consumers in an effort to increase sales. Great
Very well.
answer, very descriptive, very great answer. So we have more answers here.
I can answer all, but we'll pick one. Market and
how you can beat your competition, improve market share. Yes, definitely. That is correct. Market penetration can be understood as a strategy to enter into a new market. It's also used as a metric to measure the percentage of market share. Measures from retail. I love how detailed all of you are. You source Google. But still, I love the effort. Y'all are getting great answers. So let's talk about it. Let's simplify what each of these mean. Most of you were in the right direction. So before I asked this question, I asked, how do you think businesses grow? And a lot of you said advertising, marketing. Does anyone know where that would come under? Even though marketing is something that goes under everything, but where do you think, under which strategy is that a dominant tactic? Oh, that's an accident. Okay, they did it. And can anyone guess? Take a wild guess. Okay, I think market development. Okay, so we'll go through each now. So let's talk about market penetration first. In simple terms, market penetration is when you grow with the exact same product and in the exact same market. So it's the same product, same market. So what are you changing? You are changing your promotional strategies, your advertising, you enforce strategies to increase your market share. So in the same market, you're providing the exact same product, but you're changing the way you market the product, and you're implementing more tactics to increase your market share, to increase the number of customers. Pepsi and Coke, yes, because they provide the exact same product in the same market, but are you talking about like their marketing strategies is what they alter? But Pepsi does provide like different types of like varieties of its product, right? Like they have a different products in their portfolio. They use different ways. Oh yeah, that's definitely true. Right. So that's market penetration. Now let's talk about product development. So again, the same way, product and market, what remains same here? Product development. You're developing the product. So in this case, the product is the one that's changing, but the market is the same. So you're you're producing a different product. You're adding new features to the product, you're add to the service, whatever it is, you're changing it, you're altering it. It could even be changing the packaging of the product.
Do you guys have any examples? You think that?
Yeah, how advertising campaigns are important. Yeah, definitely. For Pepsi and Coke. So for product development, any examples that you may have? Packaging wheat flour in retail bags for household consumption. Awesome examples. I love how
everyone is very
yeah, and like the different examples that everyone is thinking of. Any other examples that you'd like to give? Yeah, iPhone, definitely. iPhone also adds features to the same product, selling obviously the same market. So a lot of companies use this growth strategy. Vegan meals, different products of Apple.
Yeah, so it's the same market, but there's different
great. If you like, you can explain why you're talking about that specific company as well, but we get what you're leaning towards. So now let's talk about market development. I think you can take a guess. So product development, you're changing the product. So what do you think market development would be?
Yes.
And the product is the same. So they remove stuff, but they're promoting iPhone is a great example. Going international, great example, Huda. Yes, that's definitely market development. So you're selling the same product, but you're doing so in different markets. So you can go international, you can start exporting, you can open up a company or franchise or whatever in a different country. You can go from a brick and mortar store to an online store. You can take different distribution channels. There's different ways, taking a step further with their products, expanding their market. Exactly. But usually companies utilize two different strategies together to implement this. So if you want to start selling in a different country, you would also have to change your product a bit to meet the language the differences in that country, the cultural
Yeah,
differences,
like Huda
and
said,
adapting the according to yes,
different markets and the
exactly,
needs
Huda.
for the specific market.
So usually businesses don't take just one strategy. They usually combine it. So product development, market development would probably be combined so that you can adapt the product and change your market. So yeah, that's a great point, Huda. Apple pie for workshop participants, mango pie for
workshop,
apple pie for all the cheesecake for. Yes, we will be waiting for these pies. I think that's what we're hoping for.
And
at
great
the end.
example here you have linked it to your board.
Yeah, we'll be waiting for these pies from Huda specifically.
Yeah.
Okay. So lastly, diversification. I think you guys can guess what that is. What do you think will change in diversification? It's on mango season, so might have to cut that down. Surprisingly enough, I don't like cheesecake.
What, really?
Yeah, I
Oh
don't
my
know. I
God.
don't eat cheesecake.
I love cheesecake.
Different products in different markets. Exactly. So you're going in a completely different industry, completely different market. That's
Exactly, Huda.
diversification. I love cheese. Like how their products can be used by different people. Yeah. So it's a completely new industry that you're going into. So now let's talk about the level of risk. So that's also something that businesses consider, especially during Corona times. They're probably not going to take the most riskiest strategy. So they have to balance that out. So what do you guys think is the riskiest strategy amongst all these four strategies? Market development, product development, market penetration, diversification. What do you think is the riskiest strategy? Okay, why do you think it's diversification?
So this is Zahid. I believe all four strategic choices present, risks in their own areas, because things are changing so dynamically. Sometimes you have to change, sometimes you have to, continue doing what you are good at. And one example that I can give off is, the brick and mortar industry, the malls. So if they don't go online, they don't start selling digitally, that they may be not in the business soon. So this is just one example that came to my mind looking at where the risk is. I think every choice has its own risk, and then it goes back to pitching this to the SWOT analysis, that we may have done earlier.
Great, that's a very good point. All these strategies have a risk. That's why one of the biggest qualities or characteristics of an entrepreneur is risk taking, because whatever you do, you're taking a risk. That's a major component of decision making of a business. Definitely, all these strategies have a ton of risk. So it is hard to compare. But if you had to guess, what do you think has like the most level of risk? I know even the other strategies could go on to be even riskier because of the circumstances. Yeah. But theoretically, what would you think is the riskiest strategy to take? Each step taken is a risk.
Diversification too.
So why do you guys think it's diversification? Either it would be profit or loss. Does anyone want to take a guess?
Market penetration.
Anyone want to explain why you think?
I think it would be the market development would be the most critical one, because there are a lot of companies who might be operating great, for example, like Walmart in US, but if they try to go to other countries, they have a huge risk because they might not understand the local dynamics, the competitions, they miscalculate a lot of things. So market development would be the first one, I guess.
Definitely, that's great points on how market development is a very, very risky strategy. So let's move on, and we'll kind of work through this little graph here to see not only the level of risk, but also to compare the different choices. Just a second. It is 1 second, it is stuck for some reason. So let me do something about it.
I don't know if you guys know it or not, but Pizza Hut sort of like failed when it comes first to Pakistan because they came with all kind of like Italian ingredients and taste that we Pakistani like. They figure out they have to change their recipe.
You're breaking up a little bit, Tabish. Can you put that on chat?
Right. So while Tabish does that, let's look at this little graph here. So based on this, we can kind of figure out the level of risk. Again, all these and if it's a new product in an existing market, it'll come over here. I hope that was not confusing. Oh, there are some messages in the chat.
So market development.
Jamila says market penetration strategy can cause prices to lower throughout the entire industry. Competitors often try to match prices, particularly if their products are similar. The company that initiated the market penetration strategy must further lower its price to outmatch the competition. That is true. It can lead to price wars. It can lead to a lot of rivalries and so on, especially in, I guess it depends on the market structure. If it's an oligopoly, I guess that's very, very common. So you really need to be aware of the strategies that other businesses have. Whereas if it's well, it's not a perfect competition, but a very competitive industry, it would be different. But great points there. Tabish says that Pizza Hut initially failed in Pakistan because people didn't like their taste. Then they changed their recipe and introduced new flavors that are spicy. Yeah, I guess that's why it's really risky when you're entering new markets.
If you don't know the new market.
Yeah, you really need to be aware of the tastes, the cultures of that specific. It's very easy
The
to
needs
fail.
of that new market.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So where do you guys think this market development will be placed? So it's kind of like a refresh. We're kind of refreshing your memory. We kind of already talked about this market development. What remains what is existing and what is new. Based on that, we can figure out where it is on this graph here. So
Definitely new markets.
Yes, definitely new markets and products. These are existing products, but obviously, as we mentioned, market development and product development can both be used at the same time to change the features of the product when you're entering new market.
Yeah.
But
market difference in product.
Exactly. So there goes market development. So as you go right, the level of risk increases because as you work on new products, you have to invest in research and development and market research, and there's a lot of factors that come into play, which is why the level, and as you enter new markets, again, the level of risks increases. That's what these arrows are basically showing. Now let's move on to product development. Where do you think product development would go, guys? What is new here? What is existing here? You can even say like bottom right, top left. You can different products, same market. Exactly, I mean. So Iman, sorry, I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. But that is exactly right. Product development goes here. and the level of risk is increasing here again because you're producing a new product. Now, let's talk about diversification. Where do you think that goes? Yeah, both different. So it goes top right there. And finally, market penetration, both are the same. So it goes right there. So these are categories of different growth strategies businesses use. Again, they're used at the same time. You cannot just use one strategy. Usually businesses use both, 2, 3, or all of them at the same time. So now seeing from this graph, there's a name to this framework, this specific method. So does anyone know what this matrix is called? I've kind of given a clue, but what does anyone know? Any guesses? Market matrix. Okay.
Good guess.
That's a good guess though.
But it's
any other? Wait, we'll wait for one more.
Based on a person.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Then yeah, I'm not sure.
Do I go for it or wait?
Yeah. Go for it.
Hands off.
Yes. It is the Ansoff matrix. So this is the matrix that that is used to kind of look into the different strategies a business could go for, and then decide which one is the best one based on the level of risk. And obviously it's not the only tool used. Again, you use a lot of different tools to come up with a decision, but we're covering two here. We covered do you remember which other tool we covered under strategic choice before? Right,
let's see who can remember.
Yeah, right before Ansoff matrix. What was the one we did before this? Does anyone remember?
I can give a hint. Remember the different forces?
Yeah. Driving force. I mean, yeah, that was a part of the framework. That's right. But do you remember what it was called?
We have
what happened?
I think Tabish.
Oh, okay.
Force field.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
You got it.
It is the force
You
field
have
analysis.
been listening.
Right. So now that we've covered this, now let's think of tactics. Let's think of what can go under each of these growth strategies. We kind of already covered it because all of you give such amazing examples and comments, but let's go through it again. So let's relate it to Kareem, and let's think of how Kareem could implement a market development growth strategy. What can it do under market development? What can it do under diversification? What can it do under product development? What can it do under market penetration? Do you guys have any ideas?
It's your own company, so you should know.
You are the CEOs, right? So what do you think under market development, what could Kareem do? So if you don't understand what I'm saying, remember how we mentioned the different ways someone could undertake market development. They could enter a new country, they could go online, they could think of a different distribution channel. Those are different ways. So let's try to be specific and related to Kareem. Okay, under market penetration, what could they do? They could change their promotional strategies. Under product development, they could add little features to their product. So what can Kareem do to add features? And then diversification is like a completely different industry that Kareem can go into. So in order to do this, we need a little bit more information on Kareem, even though we already talked about its objectives, we talked about its missions, but obviously we need a little bit more information about it. Yeah, so what do you think?
Let's go back to the strategic analysis. Do you remember the two types of analysis we used?
Under strategic analysis, the step right before strategic choice.
Let's see if you remember.
So what were the two techniques, two methods of strategic analysis? Yes, SWOT and pestle. So that's what we need right now. That's where the SWOT, the strategic analysis methods comes in. We need that in order to know what the strengths of Kareem, what the weaknesses of Kareem is, in order to think of different strategies that would allow Kareem to grow. So lucky for you CEOs, we already have a SWOT analysis conducted for you of Kareem. And here are the here are the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats of Kareem. This is particularly of your company. So, based on this, when you read the weaknesses, you can kind of think of, okay, now we can think of a strategy that could convert that weakness into a strength. How can we solve that weakness? Or we can look at opportunities to figure out what kind of strategies Kareem can come up with. So, let's read through this, right? So, if we look at opportunities, it says that Kareem can the one of the opportunities of Kareem is that they can join other big markets like India. They can add services like self-drive cars. Uber actually did this, but then they stopped it. They sold those cars. I guess it didn't work for them. And then they can add the carpooling concept.
So we will give you some time for you to come up with some of these ideas and just type them in the chat.
So after you read this, what do you think of different ways that these weaknesses could turn into strengths, these threats could turn into opportunities? Do you guys need a little bit more help or information? Do let us know. We're here. And please let us know if you're understanding what we're saying, because we are talking a lot. So if you didn't understand anything that we said, do let us know. And yeah. So maybe we can talk about market development, bonuses for drivers on public holidays. Yeah, I guess that is a growth strategy, but I'm trying to think of where that where it would come under. And I guess that would encourage more drivers to come to join the to join Kareem. So that is definitely a strategy. I guess it won't really come under these because it's more related to, like, this is more related to advertisements. This is more related to different markets. This is and this related to the product features. So, well, that's a great idea though. Um, Based on this, what do you guys think? So, okay, let's talk about one of the opportunities. It says that they can join other big markets such as India. That is definitely a growth strategy because they're entering a different market which they don't operate in. So what growth strategy would this come under?
Definitely market development.
Yes, exactly. That would definitely come under market development because you are entering a new foreign market. So that's something Kareem can do. It could look into the current countries that it operates in. It mainly operates in the Middle East, but so it could expand by looking into different other emerging markets that need such services. Yes, market development. Maybe we can look into the other. They can offer delivery services. Yes, definitely. That's a very good example. They actually already do that, but that's still a good example. That's a good growth strategy. They've already
you have already done that as a CEO.
Yeah, your company's already doing that, but good job. Great ideas. So now let's talk about this other one. They can offer additional services like a self-driving car. So that's also a feature that they could add. What do you think? Where do you think that could go under? What growth strategy? Yeah, product development. Yes. Can you think of other features they could add? Yeah, it's not the most reliable. I think that's probably why Uber stopped. it was probably risky and wasn't working out.
Yeah.
So yeah. Can you think of any other features that can be added to to Kareem's services?
It could be anything, any like new, something you've like never heard of. Like you're the CEO, so it's your decision. What you
Anything at all. You know, like waiting time can be longer than Uber, maybe something that reduces. And also one of the complaints that usually uh, people have is that they can't really see where the driver exactly is, so maybe improving those features on the app. That's also product development. Expand its services in other countries, yes, definitely, that's market development. Add entertainment, mean, oh, that's
said that.
cool. Add
Oh, that's a
entertainment,
really
that's a cool a
a glass
strategy. That's a cool
between.
idea. A glass between driver and clients for privacy. Oh, but actually, the drivers, they're kind of independent. You know, like they.
Yeah, they own the
Yeah. So I'm not
cars.
sure if that would work.
If if the company like gives the drivers that, like, it's a portable glass
Oh
thing,
yeah.
then maybe, yeah,
Maybe the company can provide it
provide it,
to the.
yeah.
But that's a good
Kinda,
idea though
yeah.
for privacy. Yeah. And then Asma says add entertainment means so that people, that's, what do you think that would come under when you're adding entertainment and improving kind of the quality of the service? What do you think that would come under? What growth strategy? Yeah, definitely product development. So yeah, these are some great ideas, great examples. Good job, guys.
Yeah,
So
good job.
um I'll I'm going to the next slide. Yep. So here is a list of some strategies as well. So um, Uber actually considered adapting its vehicle to for people of determination, for disabled people. So adapting its vehicle for them. So providing some maybe service for disabled people to travel from one place to another. That's an idea, right? That would come under product development, but it can also come under market development because you are now opening your service to new markets. And what is this new market? People of determinate. Yeah, that's a great idea. Offer discounts, yes. I think there's been like a rivalry between these Uber and Lyft and so on. So definitely promotional offers and discounts are effective. That would come under market penetration. And yeah, these are just some examples. Diversification is going into any other industry that you think is emerging. Like at your first time ordering Uber, you get a 50% discount. Also for deaf people, they could teach the driver sign language to communicate better.
Wow,
Wow, that's a really
very
creative
innovative
idea.
idea.
Yeah, so you're basically opening your service to like these to different market. You're creating market segments. So yeah, great ideas, very creative CEOs right here. Um, anyone else would like to share anything? 10% if your friend, yeah, that's a really good. So carpooling, basically, that's a carpooling concept.
But not Uber.
10% if your friends use.
Kareem, right?
Oh, okay. Like no, he means Uber.
Uh,
It's okay. So 10% if your friends use Uber, and 50% if you're. Yeah, definitely. These are really creative, different promotional techniques that you can use as well. And the carpooling concept, that's it's helpful for the environment. So you can create a really nice marketing campaign about how you're saving,
even offering different packages
how
for the-
benefiting the environment, even offering different packages for different needs. Yes, definitely. So that would be both product development and market development. So awesome. So all of you have some really creative ideas. I can't wait for the challenge to see what kind of ideas you come up with. But so far, y'all have had some awesome ideas that we didn't even think of. So
Yeah.
this is really cool. Right, so let's move on to the final stage of this process. We're almost going to the challenge. What time is it? Okay, it's 7:30.
Yeah.
All right, so we are in the final process, final step, strategic implementation. If there are long journeys, they could offer snacks or sleeping masks. Yeah, definitely, these are really creative ideas right here. Now, you've thought of your strategy, you've analyzed your business, you've done all that. Now you need to implement it, but you need to figure out how you're going to implement it, because it's not just creating a plan and that's it. No, you need to figure out how you're going to actually put it into action and turn it into reality. So how do you guys, what do you guys think businesses need to consider when they're implementing their strategy? So what would they need to implement their strategy? What would, maybe there's some things that they would need, maybe there's some things that they would change. Yeah, money, that's probably the first thing that would come to your mind. Yes, finance. So they need to think of resources, they need to think of capital. Anything else you think businesses would need in this in the implementation process? Bank loans, yes. So that all comes under finance. Anything else besides finance? Any ideas? Employees, yes, a
Capable
great
employees,
answer.
yeah.
So sometimes you might even need to retrain your employees. If you're implementing a new technology, a new machine,
Wow.
you may need to train your employees. Networking, connections, investors, human resources,
yes.
capital, change management plan, project management office.
Great. That's
Awesome, great answers right here.
coffee.
Yeah, you need coffee, honestly. If you're implementing all this, like, how are you gonna do it? um Also people who believe in you. Yes, you need moral support, definitely. Great answer. So here are some things that businesses need to consider when implementing their strategy. A good team to make your team become, yes, definitely. So that would come under resources. So under resources, obviously there's finance, but there's also human resources, which is your employees. And so for example, if you are expanding and you want to start selling in a different country, you would need employees, you would need land. There are so many things you would need. If you're opening up a business in a different country, you would need money, less cost, more money. Yes. And then sometimes you may need to even add new objectives. So remember how we talked about those objectives in the beginning?
Values, objectives,
So
and values.
yeah, exactly. So if it's like a major change, like acquisition, so that's a major change. When a business is acquiring another business, you may need to change your objectives, you may need to add new objectives depending on the type of strategy you're enforcing. You would need resources, as mentioned. And finally, you need to check on your progress. So you can't just have all this and then start it off and expect everyone to stick to the deadlines, everything to be working perfectly, because that's not how it works. You are going to face a lot of things throughout a lot of obstacles. So you need to check on the progress regularly to make sure that whatever you're doing it based on what the objectives you set, and based on what your plan was. You're on the right track. You need to make sure you are. So you need to keep on checking for the progress. So these are three major things that businesses consider. Obviously there's a lot more, but these are three important things to keep in mind. Right. So we have finished the 4-step process. Before we move on to the challenge, can you walk us through each of the steps?
Yeah, what are those 4 steps we just wrote?
KPIs, key performance indicators. Yes, I didn't mention that. So usually businesses set key performance indicators. They set these little objectives. How do I explain this word? So they set these measures that allow you to see if you are achieving your objective. So for example, if your objective is to, yeah, exactly, like goals, but they're more like, I guess, they include more numbers, because for example, I'll give you an example to explain further. So if your media, right? So what you would do is that you would say that I want to increase my engagement rate from, maybe it was 0.5% to 3%. Usually you can figure out your engagement rate online to see what is your engagement level on your social media pages of the business. So you can kind of set a goal to increase your engagement rate from like 1% to maybe 3%. So that is a key performance indicator. So later on, you can check what your engagement rate is and see if you have met your goal or not. So those are, remember, I don't know if you know, maybe you've heard of SMART goals. So SMART goals means that you need your goals to be very specific. So this makes sure that your goals are measurable and they're specific, and that you will be able to measure your goals at the end. I hope that made sense. If you have any question, if you'd like to
questions,
add on to anything.
Yeah, let us know. Let us.
Yeah, anything at all.
I think that the KPIs are all the quantitative indicators. So it's about your future state. So anything you have in mind that I want to increase my sales, I want to increase my profit, I want to increase my Instagram penetrations. So anything would come, it would be part of your objective, and how you will measure yourself against that. So you decided that after 2 years, I want to be a company that reaches out to 2 million people. And then you just measure performance, that have you really reached out to 2 million people. So that's how you measure performance.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely explained a lot better than I did. As you said, they're quantitative objectives, right? Measures. Yeah. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Where did you guys get the concept of force? No, these aren't concepts that we created. These are actual concepts that exist, that companies use. So yeah, it's not something that we've created. I wish we did, but no, we didn't. But yeah. So I mean, you can find it anywhere if you.
Yeah.
I mean, we
all the
created
strategy books will have it.
Yeah,
books.
any books, if you just search it online, there'll be like a lot of websites talking about it. So
yeah.
Right. So I didn't get the answer. I asked. So do you guys remember the 4 steps to this strategic management process? One by one. Does anyone remember all the 4 steps that we covered until now? So what's the first step that we covered? Vision, mission. Yes. So objectives.
Yes.
Yeah, you need to
That was
define.
the first part.
Yeah.
Step.
So what's the second step?
The analysis.
Yes, the strategic analysis. So
Exactly.
the SWOT analysis, the pestle analysis, the force field. No, wait, sorry.
No, first.
The Porter 5.
Yeah, Porter's 5 forces. Yeah. Right. So next, what's the step after that? The third one? Yeah, the strategies. Do you remember what it was called, that step?
Which way to go? So,
you're choosing between your different options. What was that?
So it's the
Choices.
yes.
Yeah, it's a strategic choice.
And then
And finally,
this
it's
one,
right here
it's already written
on the screen, but yeah, it's strategic implementation, last and final processes. And you've all come up with some amazing growth strategies, and you've brainstormed some amazing ideas. Let's change it up a notch. Yeah, and
part. So now we're done. Go into the challenge. And you were first the CEO of Kareem, but now you
of Uber, it's time to make some important decisions. So first, we will provide you with some data. The first two steps we talked about, objectives and analysis. We've already covered those steps for you. We will provide you with those objectives, the mission, the SWOT analysis, the pest analysis, which you can go through. And after reading through that, then you would have to take the next step, which is the strategic choice. You would have to come up with some growth strategy or strategies that Uber could use to grow, especially during this time, during Corona. So, you know how we covered 4 different growth strategies: market development, product development, market penetration, diversification. You would have to decide which growth strategy Uber should choose. It could be one of them, it could be 2 of them, it could be 3 of them, whatever. It's all up to you. And under those, whatever you decide. So if you decide market development, you need to think of uh, some specific strategies that would go under market development. So remember how you suggested that Uber can have like an Kareem could have an entertainment feature, or it could have a glass in the cars and so on. That comes under product development. So those specific strategies, those specific ideas, you need to brainstorm with your group, and you need to come up with
yeah. So
strategies and choose which one is the best.
so we thought of how many people are there. Maybe we can see how many groups we can
Yeah,
make.
wait, finally, the 2 more. After that, you just think of how your strategy would be implemented, and that's pretty much it. Then you will come back and you'll get 3 minutes, but maybe we'll get more time, let's see. But right now it's like 3 minutes to present. You can create a presentation of your own, like
Yeah.
a just short
PowerPoint
presentation, and
or-
just jot down some notes, and you can present. If you think you won't have enough time, no problem, you can verbally present as well.
So you have 30 minutes, right? So we said 30 minutes for now.
Yes.
But of course, if you need more time, we will also see. And each group will be assigned a facilitator. So like if you are stuck or you don't know where to start, you can ask your facilitator. So
How big are the groups going to be, Mahreen?
So how many people?
I think it's 4 of us. 5 of us are here on as leads or volunteers. We have 10 participants in the workshop.
So we could have 5 groups, 2 people each.
That sounds good to me,
But
actually.
it's good.
Yeah, is it
Yeah.
too small, or I think they would?
Let's do how do participants feel about it? Is everyone active here? Let's do the 5 groups of 2, and because then they'll have a good discussion about it.
Yeah.
And if it turns out that any group is having an issue, we can just move them to another, if someone is inactive or something like that, we can just do that. I made you the host, Mahreen. Is that okay with you? You're happy, you're comfortable setting up?
Wait, so the breaker rooms, I don't think I have the feature here.
Oh, you do
wait,
not?
just
Okay, you can always make me the host again, and I'll do it if you like. Do that. Make me the host.
let me just try if it works.
It's very
It's not
simple. I
really-
thought you might want to decide yourself how to go about it. So
Okay, it's working.
So
now.
I actually changed into the other.
great. You guys might have an echo if you're both in the same room with your speakers unmuted and your speaker and your audio unmuted. So you might want to, separate up a little bit. So one thing I'm thinking now is, do we have any advice for our participants on how to navigate this, how to go about this challenge?
Yes. I will just screen share once again. Do you think you can do the breaker rooms thing? Is that
Yes,
okay?
just make me the host and I'll figure it out.
Okay. Host.
A lot of active people. That is great. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 active people. 7. 2, 2.
So So as we said, we have provided you with the analysis. So here, this is a brief description of the company and its mission statement, its vision. So it's always important to come back to this slide to make sure that whatever strategy you choose fits with their objectives. Then we have a SWOT analysis. So we've covered some strengths of Uber, some weaknesses, the opportunities, threats. It's good to read this in order to know where the company stands. And when it comes to opportunities, threats, this will be really, really helpful in coming up with strategies because you can see what what threats can be converted to opportunities or what opportunities Uber can grab. So this is a really helpful slide, this particular slide, even though all of them are useful, but I'm just emphasizing on this particular side here. Then we have a bit about the pest analysis. I hope we're not overwhelming you with all of this. Again, we will be there as facilitators. We will be helping if you have any questions. So these are the economic factors. So here we talk a bit about Corona as well, and then the environmental factors, social factors, technology. So these are all the external factors that are impacting Uber, all the external factors. So you can look into these external factors and kind of figure out if any of these external factors provide an opportunity for Uber as a growth strategy. And
Right.
we'll come back to that. And yep, that's it. If you have any questions, let me look at the chat. I think there were some
I'll just
questions.
quickly share my screen and brief people on how breakout rooms work. So just really quickly, the one thing to keep in mind is, so how breakout rooms work is it's exactly the same as Zoom. It's just like a sub Zoom. So you just won't be on the main chat. You're going to be in a chat. We have one, so you're paired up with one student or participant and then one volunteer or workshop lead. So there's someone to support you in every group. I think I actually had to end up doing 4 rooms given the number of people that were there, because we dropped down to 9 participants, which is totally fine. So one thing I just want to tell people is when you're done with your breakout room and you're ready to join the main room, please, when you click on leave room, you will get these 2 options, leave meeting or leave breakout room. Please do not leave the meeting. You can always come back, but it's always a bit of a hassle to do that. So just be careful about that. If anyone has any questions about breakout rooms, I'd encourage you to share that with me now.
So Bushra, I think Hafsa is not active, so yes, Hafsa and
active. All right, I'm going to do
yes.
one thing really quickly. I'm going to move someone from the 3-person room. Did we remove people?
I only removed Hafsa.
All right, I think we might have to end up doing 3 rooms then, because someone else also dropped out. Suddenly we're down to 18 participants. Maybe they'll come back, I don't know, but I will move another person here. 1 second. I think we've had more people dropping out. This is funny. Okay, I'll just assign Mila and okay. If more people come, I might move the rooms around a bit more. So we're just going to go into the breakout rooms now. If you have any questions, please, you can just message me, or you'll have a mentor. And we've shared the presentation on chat. So if you want to read about the challenge and definitely get that information, you can do that there. And so now we're going to open up all the rooms.
Good luck, everyone.
I'm going to stay here outside and just skip across all the rooms, and Mahreen and Simal, feel free to do the same as you like, or stay in one group. Let me do that again. So everyone, welcome back from the challenge. And as promised, we have a surprise judge in the house, and her name is Yamna Khan. Yay, Yamna!
Hi, everyone. Super excited to be here and to see. I just heard about everyone's pitches, so I'm very excited to see what you guys have come up with.
So I'll let Yamna introduce herself so you understand as to why we picked her as a judge.
Sure, well, that's awkward, but okay. So hi, everyone. I'm Yamna. I have been an entrepreneur and I'm currently working on other startups. I've been working on a couple of startups. I had one. I think I've been part of a couple of digital transformation projects. I don't know what else to introduce, but yeah.
Yamna was involved in setting up incubators and accelerators in Saudi Arabia, right? The Hive, is that it? Yeah.
So it's a fintech accelerator. It's with DIFC. So I worked with the Dubai government and the Saudi government to set up an accelerator in Saudi Arabia, Jeddah to be specific, for fintech startups.
So if you guys
Cool, that's so awesome.
any questions, you must message PM Yamna and slide into
Yeah, of
DM,
course. Ask away.
Yes, and besides that, definitely our wonderful leads, Mahreen and Simal, will also have awesome feedback, and definitely Tabish and Zahid. Tabish being a consultant and Zahid just being a very shrewd person in general, will have great input to give here. Okay, so let's get started with the pitches, all right? Drum rolls. All right, so which team should go first? I think, who was in, let's go room by room. So Ain was in the first room. Ain, are you ready?
Yeah, that's good.
Yes, I am.
Okay, and you get 3 minutes. So I'll put it in chat when you have 1 minute remaining, all right?
Okay.
And your time starts now.
Uber is a well-recognized brand. It is available in more than 60 countries. They are currently having competitive advantage over most of similar organizations in market, except LYFT. They can further introduce more services. Their basic problem is that the customers are dissatisfied with high prices. So its solution can be introducing self-driving cars, which can cut down expenses. It will lead to technology. It will lead to technology and capital and more channels. Uber leads to growth strategies such as product development and market penetration, which can help improving customer experience. As their mission is to provide reliable transportation through marketing, promotion, and market research, they can improve their services and also gain customer satisfaction. It will also help them gain competitive advantage over Cream and other organizations. Their current KPI is 4.2, which can be increased to 4.8. Their targets are to increase revenue and market shares, and their objectives would be introducing self-driving cars and gain customer satisfaction.
Awesome. That was a great page that you were really confident. I loved hearing all that. Do we go through each of the rooms, or should we give feedback right now? How do you think we should
can
go about
ask questions. Let's do feedback at the very end, but if you guys have any questions for Ain.
Yeah, so I had a question. So your main idea is that they should have self-driving cars. That's the main idea. And is that correct? I just want to confirm.
Yeah, introducing self-driving cars and gain customer satisfaction.
Okay, so when you talk about like customer satisfaction, what are you exactly aiming at? Like under customer satisfaction, what ideas or what strategies did you have to achieve customer satisfaction again?
So basically, customers are dissatisfied with high prices and privacy. They're having privacy issues, so they're to be solved. And prices can be cut down through technology, and such as introducing self-driving car systems. And they can also introduce electronic cars, which can cut down diesel costs.
Okay, makes sense. And also you mentioned the KPIs. So could you be specific on the 4.2 and 4.8? Like what are those numbers exactly?
Their current rating.
Oh, is
The cus-
oh the
customer.
4.2 out of 5? Is that what you mean? Like the rating,
Yeah, I guess.
like reviews that they've gotten?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, that makes sense. Those are all my questions. If anyone else has.
I had a question, and because you mentioned privacy, so I have a question as to you did mention that that was something that was important for Uber to deal with, but not how Uber can deal with that. For example, the whole point of Uber is to drop you home. So if your driver knows your house location, that's not something that you can hide from the Uber driver, right? But what are some of the ways that you think that can help in maintaining privacy for customers?
Yeah, by introducing self-driving car system. When there'll be self-driving car system, then there'll be no driver. So they won't have to, wouldn't be a problem of privacy.
That makes
Okay.
yeah, continue.
I was gonna get a little bit more technical, just because self-driving cars is, I think it's a great idea. I also think it's the future of transportation. But I just have a question. What about short-term solutions? Self-driving cars is a long-term solution, right? What are short-term solutions? Uber needs to sustain
Sharing
itself.
locations, I guess. They can share locations with their relatives and people.
Okay, that makes sense.
Awesome. So those are all our questions. Awesome job, Ayn. So let's move on to the next team now.
We had in the next breakout room, we had Asma, Abdullah with, I think Mahreen and Simal, you guys tagged in this.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So Asma, will you be presenting on behalf of yourself and Abdullah?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna start.
Go for it.
So basically, yeah. So like I have covered all the aspects of points in all different areas. Like for example, I would like now I'm gonna talk about is how Uber, like we could improve different services in Uber. Like we could use different vehicles, for example, bikes, cycles, and vans. Like for example, some people who don't wanna travel like in a car, maximum 2 to 3 people are allowed. But during coronavirus times, like only 2 people are allowed maximum in the back seat and one person in the front seat. So by introducing vans, it's like more people could travel together in a group, like when they're traveling together to a party or a get together rather than traveling alone in different cars and stuff. And we could introduce different services, like just like Uber focuses mainly on dropping people and picking people up, but like food delivery services that they could use bikes instead, and even cycles. So that could also better than using cars, they could use cycles. So it could also like reduce the amount of gasoline they use and petrol, and it could also cause a reduction in environmental pollution, as well as many people can also participate in Uber, like not only people who have car licenses, but also bike licenses, like not just people only who know how to drive cars, but who also know how to drive bikes, ride bikes, etc. And then we could also like how like for example in some urban areas, like taxis are not available easily to the people. So over there we could like make Uber more easily available so that the people can use Uber and be dependent on Uber rather than taxis. And we could also like Uber is mainly dependent on the app, which I've noticed. Like what if something goes wrong with the app? So we could also like provide more description. Like some people say that they do not feel safe. For example, they don't know anything about the drivers because there's not much detail given. So they could give a detailed, like not very much detail, but a description of drivers so that people feel much more comfortable, and they could increase interaction. For example, like drivers could mention down their numbers. I wouldn't say personal number, like they could have a personal number as well as a work number, so that their privacy is not invaded. And then they could modify some stuff in the car, like they could add baby seats and entertainment means like for different kinds of people, and then even for services for people of determination. And then I feel like for security, they could add some emergency services, or like, for example, in this case of emergency situation, or what could you do and what could you not, and instructions given in the car. And then if they could even add cameras, I would say like at least one camera. So like even the drivers and the customers feel safe at the same time. And I think that's pretty much it.
Nice.
Yeah, great points. I love the creativity of using different kinds of transportation vehicles. But I think you mentioned cycles for delivery or like bikes. But how can they use cycles or bikes like fast? Because if someone is riding the cycle, like how can they deliver the food? Do you mean by that, or how do you mean by using cycles and bikes?
Like for different means, like for food delivery and stuff, they could use bikes. And like in cycles, I feel like I even heard about the like latest, like they came out about electronic cycles, electronic scooters or something, so they could use that. It's not even that much tiring, and they can actually, it's very easy to use and much more comfortable.
So they would so there wouldn't be any drivers then, right?
So you're
they would
renting
renting a
cycles.
cycle.
It's like, because even the electric scooters, they partner up with Lyft. I forgot.
Yeah.
Lime, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and then
yeah.
they basically rent those scooters. Like you have a barcode, you scan the barcode, and then you can ride those scooters anywhere you're renting them. So is that what you mean by the cycles?
Not really. Like, for example, like if you're ordering something, so they can use the means of transport as cycles and like drop us stuff like to our houses. Like if you like for delivery means, they could use it for delivery means.
I
So
think
that,
she means just instead of like a car, use a cycle,
Yeah.
which is very interesting because I
Yeah.
actually know of two new startups in Australia as well as UK where they are going towards like cycles
Yeah.
for food delivery. My only thing is, will it end up being seasonal? Especially with snow, a lot of times in places, suppose it rains too much. That's my only thing, which I know like both the startups, at least the one in Australia is definitely looking at actively. That's my only concern. I think also like I have a few questions, but I'm gonna let Mahreen and Simal finish first, and then I'll go for it.
No, you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can continue.
Yeah.
I just want to add in on this one. So Deliveroo is having all these bicycles there. So they deliver by through those cycles. And I think with the rain problem, let's say London, they have the raincoat. So I guess it's fine with all the clothing they provide to their drivers. So
I think
So
it was
it's-
more, I was worried more about snow than rain.
Yeah.
With rain,
Yeah.
it's easy, but with snow, I think it's a little harder because even if you actually like, for example, like if you're, if you, you know, like the city people, the city council actually clears the snow, it's still pretty wet and
Snow
unsafe
wheels.
on the roads. Yeah, so I don't know if that ends up being in a way, or like Simal said, like I think also what happens in that case is that delivery tends to be slower because you have to be more cautious. Does it end up, you know, costing more as well? Is it only for very, very close locations, 5 blocks here, 5 blocks there? But I definitely think it's an idea worth exploring. I had two other questions. One I forgot, one I'll go on right now. You mentioned vans for COVID purposes. It's an enclosed, and I'm just wondering whether that's a safe idea because it's an enclosed cars or vans. The reason they are, for example, limited in the number of passengers right now is because it's an enclosed area and you don't want them to be too close to one another. If you put more people in a certain space, and then, for example, one of them is tested positive, you know, things like that, does it come up to be a little bit of a, more than a liability issue, does it come up to be a fear factor? So are we talking Uber share, for example, or are we talking like
I'm sorry, I can't really hear you.
I think we lost Yamuna.
Where multiple people get on the same van, or
Oh, okay. Yeah. Basically, if multiple different passengers are getting on the same van, or it's passengers from the same like family or group getting on the same van.
I think I meant like, for example, if a family wants to travel and like a whole group like of trusted friends, not like random people, obviously not, but like for like a group of family and friends, if they want to travel somewhere together. I meant it in that way. And like about the snow, yes, you're totally right, because but I meant it as that for each country the weather is different and we can use like as an alternative, not like a permanent solution, but like a temporary solution, different alternatives, like as long as it doesn't snow in Canada, and like in UAE it does not snow at all, so we can like use that method in UAE.
yeah, but in UAE, telling someone in the summers to bike
Yeah.
is nothing short of torture. Like
Right.
it is nothing short of torture. I would not. I think ethically that would not be right. Because it's not a motorbike where someone's going at like 50, 60 kilometers an hour. I think looking at it from the perspective of I just mean seasons, like extreme seasons. Doesn't
Yeah,
have
like I get your point. Like for example, in summer, like during the daytime, they could even use it like divided, like between day and night. Like at nighttime, if it's the weather problem, then they can use cycles. But in the daytime, they can either use motorbikes. Like they could even divide like that.
Yeah. I think I love the idea of cycles, by the way. The first time I heard it, I was just like, I think that's genius. Also because it is something that's very environmentally friendly, I think, environmental friendly. So I think that is definitely a thing. I just feel like it needs to be researched a little bit more as to how it will work out.
Yeah, yeah, true.
Yeah, great ideas, awesome creativity, guys. I just had one question about the privacy concerns that you mentioned, which is why they couldn't install cameras in the cars, I believe. So I think wouldn't that raise even further privacy concerns about how the passengers would be filmed throughout? Like, how would they feel? I get where you're coming from, but that could raise further concerns about the fact that you're being filmed throughout the ride. I don't know, would passengers feel comfortable? A lot of people just feel uncomfortable being on Zoom calls because they feel like they're being watched or something. So that is something I wanted to ask.
I think they meant like recording the driver only.
So that's on recording the driver only.
But then it's also like
I guess, but like
the driver.
yeah, Uber
They could
drivers are
also-
sort of like independent, right? Like they're not like contracted drivers or anything.
Yeah, I mean, like, I want to add one more point. I forgot about it. You just reminded me. It's like many people have problems that the driver is not really high skilled or they cannot be trusted. So, as well as by adding the description, we could even like the taxi drivers, they pass so many tests and stuff. So, even before hiring the drivers, Uber, they like actually like take a quick test or an interview before hiring them, so that like say that they're trusted and they do not have any criminal history or anything. Like just go to their background and check a little bit as they're going to be driving people around. And like people could add reviews and ratings. So like if other people, if they are like always like whether we should order Uber or not, they could check other people's reviews and ratings and even order according to that, so that they can be comfortable looking at other people's opinions on it.
So I do believe criminal records are checked, and Uber drivers' reviews and ratings are routinely monitored. I have some trouble. Okay, I'll tell you why. When we get up things like give them tests, what happens is there's a little bit of biasness that comes in play. For example, how well someone speaks English, right? As an example, I think as long as they are okay and can have conversational English, it shouldn't be a criteria. And I think those are some of the things that when we think of it from a customer perspective, we're like, okay, fine, yeah, like this is beneficial to the customer. But Uber is a marketplace for drivers as well. So as Uber, the company, you have to think about it as a two audience marketplace. Your drivers are also your audience because they are the people who supply. If you don't have a proper list of drivers, then obviously Uber won't work, similar to how if they don't have it for customers. So as Uber, whenever you think of product, you should always look at it from the driver's perspective as well. And it also pertains to what you mentioned earlier, which is that customers have privacy issues. So we should publicly display more about the drivers. While I agree that there are some things that need to be checked, like criminal records, reviews, ratings, all of those sort of things, I think displaying any sort of personal information about drivers might be a little bit of a tricky ground on that aspect.
Yeah, completely agree. So I guess
Yeah, it could be in a way.
yeah, these are just some things you can think about, Asma, but awesome job, Asma and Abdullah. So I guess we'll have to move on to the next team now. Yeah.
With Ayman and Huda?
Yes, we're ready.
Awesome.
So as CEOs of Uber, me and my friend Huda have come up with 2 new ways to add new services to our company. You can start.
Yeah, so first of all, the way that I'm going to present right now is we'll enhance the app as to raise awareness during these hard times and give back to the customers and the consumers during these hard times, right? So what we'll do is we'll provide, first of all, we'll do advertising to invite more people to trust us and rely us, because people are scared and they're vulnerable right now, right? And they'll obviously hesitate to ride a taxi driven by another person, or you know what I'm talking about, right? So we could invite them by making discounts or coupons, like we could have for Uber rides, we could have 30% off or 50% off for people who use the Uber app and people who have already used Uber in the past, right? For Uber Eats, we could provide them coupons, and we could give back as a sort of during these hard times, right? So this leads us back to Uber's mission, which is reliable as running water. So like doing this, we could increase our customers, and we could like give back to the people. And we could also like donate while we ride, so as to help people who are in like harsh environments, and they need rides or they need food. So we can donate while we ride Uber or while we use Uber in the app. So we'll develop our app and enhance it, and we'll use cashless payments too. We'll like improve that feature a bit more so that people can rely on us a bit more. I'll give the pitch to Iman to present her strategy, her part of the plan.
During this difficult times of the virus and lockdown, since not a lot of people want to move out of their houses for their basic needs, Uber can provide them with their groceries, their medicines, or take their pets to the vets to make their to provide them with these services when they are not themselves moving out. So even when the transportation isn't as much as it used to be, the employees will still be doing their job and will still be working, and the employment will still stay as it is, but without affecting the drivers, and also help those who do not wish to move out of their houses during these times for sanitary purposes and all. And since it's lockdown, we should be encouraging people to stay at home. And since they're staying at home, it's still necessary to get these things, to get our medicines and our grocery. So this can be done in a proper sanitized way. We can have to implement this, we need boxes, properly sanitized boxes, so that the parcels, when they're being shifted from one place to another, they're not being touched by the driver, and they can transfer it directly from the box to the clients. This way, we're going to be improving the reliability on the company, and also attract more customers to not only transport from one place to another, but also be able to fulfill their basic everyday needs. Yes, thank you so much for listening. These were our ideas. As CEOs of Uber, we hope to create an even better company that helps people more and more.
So in this way, we could like satisfy the customers also, and then we could like the employees will also continue to earn, because if the passenger transportation has decreased, of course there will be no income of the company, right? So we could for like the idea that Iman pitched, the parcel service will allow employees to continue to earn because the passenger transportation has decreased. And we could all implement this with the app. We can enhance the app. We can use referral links. We can use coupons, discounts, donations. And yeah, so we're basically inviting people to enjoy our rides again. So that's it.
Great job, guys. I like how both of you, pitched in both your ideas, and I like how these strategies are applicable, especially during this time. So you gave a lot of examples how it can be used during Corona. You mentioned the groceries thing, that Uber can start delivering groceries, but I believe they've already started that. They announced, they already made that announcement around in like March or July, I mean. And so what is your idea that makes it kind of different? Like, did you want to add like some sort of feature to this idea? Because
yeah, we can also like deliver medicine, and we could partner with a Tambay or some big medicinal or pharmaceutical company, and we could like partner with them, and we could like provide their services to in our like in accordance with our service, right? So it's a win-win situation.
And since we have to improve our products and go to a better place than we were, it's not we're not just delivering groceries, but being more careful about it by introducing boxes where people do not touch them, so there's not much germ exchange, and
constant sanitization and everything, so more reliability,
and making sure that deliveries come on time, so that there's no delay, so that customers can trust us and trust us every time they use any car app. We'll be the first one they'll have in mind.
Nice. I just have one question about the idea of the medicine. So because in most of the countries you will need the prescriptions for those. So how are they going to tackle that challenge?
So like different markets have their different like requirements and their different needs and everything. So we'll basically adapt. So planning more and more, because this is just the surface for just touching the service, right? So there'll be more like implementation, more like work based on this. So we'll have to look at all of the market that we're dealing in right now, and all of the like, of course Tambay is not available in every like country, right? So we'll work on that, but the whole idea is that
I had a question. I was just wondering how, going back to your idea, Huda, how is giving back going to help the company grow? How is that going to relate to more? Do you think it's going to attract more people to just...
Yes, it's better for marketing, attracting more customers, which is better for the company in the long term, mainly to gain the trust of their customers, to gain more people, more popularity, so that the company can always keep growing. And making the customers happy should be a company's top priority when it comes to giving services, so that they can trust them every time they need the service again.
Yeah. So basically we're inviting people to like donate also. So that's another thing we'll introduce in the app, right? So another thing about the app, so for cashless payments and everything, so like the KPI for the payments can be like the amount of transactions happening through their payment options. So we'll provide more payment options, as if like partnering with Visa or like more bank companies, banks, I mean, more banks, and we could like also like introduce more payment options, like cashless payment options, I mean. So, and we'll all introduce that in the app so that we can basically like keep people safe.
Okay, I have a quick question that I think you guys have mentioned, but I'm a little confused with, which is the box that you said that will be sanitized. I believe Iman said that. Can you just, if you were supposed to take us through a delivery, how will that work? Because that got me a little bit confused. I think it's a great idea. Because it definitely, especially like sanitized boxes and stuff, it definitely helps. But what is the idea there is what I'm a little confused about.
Iman, do you want to? Or
Yeah, the idea is basically no one in the taxi or on the way or anything touching the parcels, because during these times, we have noticed that whenever people buy groceries or anything from outside, they do wash it at home anyway, because it's still at risk. But at least we can make sure that before when the Uber was providing the service of groceries, there wasn't as much surety of it not being handled by so many people. So by making sure that it is going to be enclosed, we make sure that it hasn't been touched so many times, but people do take their own safety measurements anyway. So it's good for both parties.
So you mean sealed boxes, if I'm not wrong? Yeah?
Yes.
What?
Do you mean sealed boxes?
Oh, we mean like the plastic boxes that like are used for deliveries and stuff.
No, which is fine, but what I mean is to make sure they're not touched or infected by a lot of people. Is the plan to seal them? Is that what the main?
Yeah.
Okay.
And properly sanitize them too, like regularly, like at least 3 times or 2 times. That's
okay. Fair enough. Makes sense. Nothing else from my side.
Yeah, that's all from my side as well. Any other questions anyone like to ask? No. Okay, then.
There is a hand raised by Asma, so maybe she has.
Oh, okay.
I have a question. You just mentioned that about plastic boxes. Am I correct?
Yep, I did.
Yeah, so my question is, how will it be environmental friendly? Like, if you're going to be distributing a lot of plastic boxes, so it's just gonna lead to more and more waste.
No, I
and
meant like big, large plastic containers, and like every car could have one, and we could like deliver multiple parcels or multiple groceries at a time, like one large big plastic container, because plastic cannot
it's going
be
to be
easily
plastic
infected.
but it's going to be plastic at the end, right? So you're like transporting a lot of plastic everywhere. So I feel like it could be like,
No, we're not
like
transporting
environmental friendly.
We're not transporting the plastic. We're just going to keep that container in the car or in the like the vehicle, and we could just like put the parcels there, right?
Yeah. And then later on, what are you going to do like with the plastic containers? Like once it's like out of use.
I
We'll
think
work
it's
on
almost
that.
a recyclable option, isn't it? Because you could you reuse the boxes for different. You're just keeping them safe after disinfecting them. That's what I understand.
Yeah, the
Yeah, I
sanitization is
wanted them to
mainly
say
because
that.
the boxes are reusable.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we don't need to sanitize them. We can just throw them away.
That would be done.
Okay. So, all right, that was an interesting discussion.
I think at every point you have to sometimes make a call on what your priorities are. So for some people during COVID, it would be safety over environment. For some people, it would be environment. I think that's a very that's a call that every business has to take. You know, you
Yeah,
can't.
so if it's not plastic, okay, we could use like wooden boxes.
Which is fine, right?
Yeah.
You can. And if as a business, sometimes you feel like your priorities are to make sure it's safe. And I don't know, from some research, you found out that this sort of plastic is more safe as opposed to wooden boxes, then that's the choice you make. I think a lot of times it's about the choices you make in things that aren't very tangible. And as every business will have to make these choices, there's no right or wrong answer to them either. Like, it's no one saying that you have to prioritize one or the other. I think it's just up to you what you decide to prioritize.
Awesome. That was an interesting discussion. So there's one more team or
Yeah.
Bushra?
Seher and Jamila, is anyone going to be able to unmute and speak? They weren't able to. Mahreen, you were with the group last, right?
Yeah, so they kind of wanted to go into the direction of flights, and so like they wanted to kind of diversify and go into that industry. And also they were considering having, like, you know how Uber app is mainly for a car rental purposes, the car rental service, but they wanted to create the website where you could also include the package delivering features and include that in the app as well, because that's not in the app. So that was one of their ideas. That was pretty much it that was discussed.
Sarah and Jamila, will you be able to take answer questions on chat? Just say yes if you can, and no if you cannot.
Sorry, Mahreen, can you repeat the first one? You said flights?
Yeah, flights, like airline.
Like pick up for flights? Like, is that okay? I think someone's answering. Okay, I'll try asking yes or no questions to Jamila and Sahar, so it's easier for them to type it in. Is it like pick up for flights? Like, so because I'm a little confused as to what.
Actually, they become an airline like service as well. Like they offer air taxis, for example.
Become an airline service.
It's diversification strategy, basically.
Okay, fair enough.
And our reasoning was that since Uber has acquired Careem, they basically dominate the market here, and they don't need to necessarily invest as much in development and penetration. What they should invest in is how new business, like new product lines or new services that would help them capture other markets. Yep. So that was.
I'm still confused about how the airlines industry comes in play. I think it's very interesting, by the way. Personally, I work with an aviation IT firm, and we're talking to Careem for something related to airlines. So this is super interesting. I just don't know what you guys what it means for you to say that they need to come into the airlines industry. And that's where I'm a little bit confused.
I think we were thinking of them, the way they offer a car, a ride service. It would be more like just an air taxi kind of a thing. We were at the very elementary stage. We did not think about how to implement the ride sharing model on airlines, but there's some cool possibilities there. Seher and Jamila,
air taxi, very short, within Dubai, Sharjah, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, that sort of thing,
or even maybe within the region. And
it's already in process from Uber's side. That's what they are planning to do.
Wait, I'm sorry, Tabish?
They already have this in their plans.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. Yeah, for sure.
Air taxi, and we just sort of have a commute from one city to the other. I think they'll start with the US first and then see how it works.
Sahar and Jamila, do you want to add something to the pitch on the chat?
So the plans that they already have is like regional, it's local or international, or the flights.
What do you guys think? Sahar, Jamila, you can type on chat. They have not been very responsive. We did not get that far into discussing the idea, so it's all good. So I think we have 4 teams, 4 sets of ideas. Do you guys? What are your thoughts? What are people's thoughts?
Right. So I'll just give like some comments on each team, and for team 1, I believe they were really confident. I loved the way they pitched because it was a great introduction. They introduced Uber, its mission, and then they specifically mentioned the problem and the exact solution. So it was a very clear pitch, which I liked. And also they linked back whatever the solutions that were their solution was the self-driving car. So whatever solutions were provided, they linked it back to the objectives. So it was all a very comprehensive, very interconnected pitch, and I really like that. So great job on the pitch. So I think the KPIs weren't exactly clear. I think even you guys were a bit confused on that, which is okay because we didn't get that much time to discuss, so I understand, but that was just something that I noticed. And again, I didn't completely understand like the efficacy and the effectiveness of the self-driving cars for the long term, but because Uber actually did introduce self-driving cars, but then it didn't work out, so they sold the cars, the self-driving cars they were working on. So that's why I wasn't sure if like because that was the idea was kind of repetitive, and I wasn't sure if it would work again. So that was something that I noticed from team 1. Would anyone else like to add on to team 1, or should I talk about the rest of the teams?
I think maybe if you want to talk about everyone, and then I can talk about everyone afterwards, but I don't know, whatever you guys are more comfortable with.
So maybe Mahreen and Simal, you guys can talk about all of your teams, and then Yamna can also give her feedback, and in the end you can privately message me which one you think should be the winning team, and then we will have 3 votes to do that. All right.
Okay, you want to do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
And
perfect.
then moving on to group 2, Abdullah and Asma. I think I was right. I love their creative idea of introducing different vehicles, like they said, bikes, cycles. They also looked at COVID by saying that we should use bikes or cycles, but kind of there was a problem with the cycle part, like can they be used in all countries, or like is it like in like when can we use it? But they also talked about the security, so installing cameras for security, and having a background check, but also like we said that it's also the driver security and not just the customers. So, but I really like that they had many different creative ideas that could be expanded if we looked at it each differently.
Yeah, so there was a lot of creativity in group 2, a lot of ideas. I think because there were a lot of ideas, you couldn't go into depth and and kind of like prioritize one, but still it was really cool how you guys were able to come up with so many different ideas in such a small amount of time. And I guess because you wanted to include like van drivers and bike driver cyclists and all that I guess would be market development, because you're kind of tapping into these different markets. Yeah, so and then let's move on to breakout room team 3.
ML and Huda, right? Yeah.
Yes. So again, I mentioned this earlier that the ideas were quite applicable there, but there were short-term strategies, but I guess they were applicable to the current
Correct,
situation. The groceries idea is already existing, so that was my concern. But I like the idea of partnering up with pharmaceutical companies. That was creative, and you kept the discussion going. There were some really good questions asked, and you kept answering very confidently, so I really liked that about your team as well, so great job on that. And then lastly, room 4, again, creative ideas. As Yamna mentioned, that it's the aviation industry is already something Kareem's thinking about, Uber also plans on, so it's something that is like feasible, so that's a good thing. Yeah, I guess I wish there was more engagement with group 4, but still, I understand that you may not be able to unmute yourself during right now, so that's totally okay. Yeah, that's all for these 4 groups. Would anyone else like to add their feedback?
Sure. I can go through the groups. I didn't take notes, so I'm gonna have to rely on my memory. So I'll start with group 1. I personally really like the idea of self-driving cars, but the thing is, like everyone else has mentioned, it is something that they experimented with and failed. So I think it's a very much a long-term solution. I think what I would have liked to see is more of a short-term solution for it, which I didn't think you guys looked at as much. And I thought, like Mahreen said too, I thought the delivery was great in the way that you guys definitely, kind of had a very organized structure on how you want to go about it. It was just a little fast, just in terms of your delivery. I thought it was a little fast. It's different when you're presenting online as compared to when you do it in person. So when you are presenting it online, just, I would say, measure out your presentation or your entire pitch a little bit, just because normally people do have a little bit of technical difficulties or things go here and there. So you want to make sure everyone can understand it. So just space it out. Otherwise, I thought it was very well organized. And I think, again, I'm in favor of self-driving cars. Just look at, whenever you're thinking of a solution, look at short-term and long-term. For group 2, I honestly love the variety of ideas you guys had. I thought they were, and I asked a couple of questions, all of which you guys answered with ease. So even though you didn't get to delve into the ideas a lot, I think you knew what each idea contained. One of the things that I didn't delve into, but I actually personally really like, is the entertainment or add-ons that you talked about. I know, like, they are in the US, for example, there are startups on their own that do that for Uber, Kareem, Lyft, or Uber and Lyft over there. So I think, kind of having Uber actually implement that gives it a very gives it a lot more features to its to what it offers its customers. So I think those are great. I think you guys had done your research well. I would have wanted to see a little bit of cohesiveness as to why you chose to present all of these ideas. So I think that would be the one thing, which is, what was each idea tackling, rather than just, okay, this is a list of ideas that we have, all of which were excellent. I just didn't see how they meshed well with each other. And I think if you had talked about that a little bit more, it would have been amazing. Because you guys did think about both short-term and long-term. I just wish there was a little bit more explanation on that. For group 3, I think it would have to be the opposite of what was in group 1. Group 1 thought mostly about long-term. You guys thought mostly about short-term. While I think that's great, I think when you think about short-term solutions, the idea is always to see how do you then, once, for example, once COVID is over, which, hopefully it will be, how do you then take it into long term? I think if you had just explained your ideas in such a way, even if you were looking at it for the short term, if you've just explained it in a way that would allow you to, or allow us to see how it would work in the long term as well, I think that would be amazing. I'm sure you guys know how it is gonna work out in the long term. Like Mahreen said too, Uber does do groceries. Obviously, they have plans of continuing it even after. I think a lot of people have gotten used to it. I think the idea about the discount codes and stuff, although I get it, I think it wasn't as well thought out, just because it seems to be something that everyone is doing irrespective. So I don't know how that would help as such, because the fear right now isn't that Uber is too expensive. It's mostly that a safety concern for Uber during these times, So I think that sort of thing from someone who's using Uber, not just for delivery, but for sitting in, I think I would have wanted to see a bit more of. But other than that, I really like the ideas. I love the sanitization thing. Again, if you're focusing on short term and COVID, I think using anything health related, sanitization, getting rid of people's fears, that's a huge aspect and a huge selling point for any business. So I think that sanitization idea was great. And group 4, I think I just wanted to hear a bit more. So I honestly didn't understand as much, I guess, which obviously has to do with the fact that you guys can't unmute yourself, which is totally okay. I'm personally a huge advocate for diversification of industries. I think at a certain point you have to do that. And then I also think if you think about it, what happens is one form of transportation obviously leads to another form. So if you have, for example, your cycle leading to your cars, leading to your airplanes and stuff. So I think it just gives a little bit of, it makes sense to go from one industry to another. I think I just wanted to see a little bit more on how you can do that in the short term as well as the long term. I don't know if any of you know, in the short term, for example, Kareem has a thing where they actually partner with PIA to offer Kareem cars as to their business class passengers free of charge. So that's just one way that you can attract those customers who fly in the short term. And then kind of once you've attracted them and you know who those customers are who are flying business class, they're more likely to take those air taxis. So, then I think kind of giving that idea, but I think again, I think as like my only thing with that, like I love the ideas. I think my only thing with that would just been if we could have heard you, we could have probably interacted a bit more and found out. So that's it. But yeah, great job, guys. I think the ideas were so varied and just absolutely amazing.
Okay, so Mahreen and Simal has sent us their vote. I'm now asking Yamna to privately message me her vote as well. And then we will announce the winner. I just want to say this, it's 9:37. Most of you have been here for 3.5 hours. And I just want to really appreciate that. It's also our volunteers who've been here and stayed engaged the whole time. It's not an easy thing to do, especially virtually. And I just want to thank you all. Ooh, this is interesting. Oh, wow. I think we will need a tie-breaking vote.
Oh my god.
Okay. Yamna Yamna needs to amend her. Okay, go for it, Yamna. Go for it.
No. Sorry, I sent you the right one. Sorry.
Wait. The new number is for...
No, wait, hold on.
Okay.
I'll send it to you again.
Yeah, I just want to also appreciate everyone and thank everyone for
Yes,
being
thank
here.
you, everyone.
And thank you, Bushra, for organizing this and
yeah.
for running this incredible workshop series.
No, thank you guys. It's been so much. Okay. I all right. Okay. So we have a unanimous vote. Unanimous meaning that all of our judges have chosen the same winner, but we have a little bit of competition for runner-up. So let's have 2 runner-ups. Why not? Okay. So for Mahreen and Simal, the runner-up is team
Drum roll.
B, which is Iman and Huda. So party poppers for Iman and Huda, everyone. For Yamna, the runner-up is team 1, which is Ain. And I really think Ain deserves a round of applause because she did not have a teammate. She had the amazing Tabish as a mentor,
I didn't know that.
but she did not have a teammate. I really want to recognize the confidence with which she spoke. I really appreciate that.
Wow.
And the winner, I think we don't need to guess anymore. The winner is team 2, Asma and Abdullah. Huge round of applause. You guys did really incredible. I'm really surprised by what you managed to come up with in such a short span of time. Abdullah is not surprised. He's very excited about Asma's sister speaking for the group. So yeah, with that, wow, it's been a very engaging 3.5 hours. Everyone's been on their toes responding to questions. Mahreen and Simal, your energy is amazing. The patience with which you went through the whole presentation, and then in the breakout rooms, the facilitation, everyone's interaction, really appreciated. Before we close, anyone wants to share anything? So basically what I'd like for Mahreen, Simal, and Yamna to respectively take a minute each and share what they think, if students are interested in learning more about entrepreneurship, what they think they should do. So
sorry, just one thing. I think Zahid has something to say. I don't know if everyone's
Zahid, please go ahead.
I mean, I just wanted to add that after listening the ideas from all the groups, I think it was amazing how the workshop leads in this short passage of duration got everyone thinking through a very systematic mechanism, where they always thought about what the mission and vision is, and then what how do you look at these strengths, opportunities, threats, and because I see this pattern, that every group kind of had the same process in their thinking, which is amazing. Also in terms of ideas, my only opinion is that all the ideas are great. It is just that what is the most relevant and sometimes has the most solid base and reasoning behind it. So everyone should be proud of themselves, so this is one thing, and just continue the same thought process throughout. People always tell you that do it because you will have to enter the workforce. Another thing after taking this workshop is you can create the workforce and create employment opportunities for others. So this is a difference between all the maybe other workshops that have happened so far, and they all were amazing, but this is the unique point about this workshop, that you have the opportunity of creating the next workforce. So congratulations to everyone for being throughout this workshop, and again a great job Mahreen, Simal, and Yamna with her expert opinions, and Bushra as always, and Tabish I think has a very unique and creative mindset, and he always brings very different perspective, which is really appreciated. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zahid. Zahid ke baghair ye academy aisi nahi hoti, because he has volunteered for so many workshops and done such an amazing job. And same goes for Tabish. Zahid aur Tabish ko ghanto pehle bhi message karo ki aa sakte ho. You guys are amazing support systems, and it's not like you're sitting idle. You both do amazing work, amazing rigorous jobs in wonderful companies. So I just really appreciate your dedication to the students, honestly. Tabish, do you want to say something too before I hand over to the leads and Yamna?
I guess it was really interesting. I just want to add and share one thing. So I've done a lot of international case competitions and things like your talent assessment centers with the top consulting firms. So trust me, this is just a stepping stone. Like the company I'm working in right now, I did a 3 hours assessment and there were 2 cases that I need to solve. So it's just, these could be really helpful for your future like your jobs, or even when it comes to entrepreneurships, it's all about, having that confidence and believing in yourself. So just use it, and participate more into these kind of workshops. It would be really helpful for you in the future.
Great.
Can I just say in regards to Tavish, like as far as my interactions have gone with him, he is just a source of knowledge, right? Like just anything and everything. I think it's amazing. Like the first few months of COVID, I would literally go on one of our WhatsApp groups and just scroll up to see what new link did Tavish put that I could actually go through, read, know more about. I mean, like honestly, to all of the participants, if you need something, like that's your go-to person. I mean, I'm sure he would have knowledge of it. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, I definitely agree. This was such a great experience. Thank you so much, Bushra, for giving us this opportunity, and thank you so much to everyone who is here, all the audience, to Zahid, to Tabish, and to Yamna. Honestly, I agree. Like, I'm so glad Tabish was here, because your input throughout the session was so valuable, and it really helped us continue the flow. We also learned from you, so that was wonderful. And Yamna, I'm so glad that Bushra suggested you as a judge, because we learned so much from you as well. So it was just honestly such a great experience. It's not just like, it was like a two-way learning experience. Like, it's not just us telling you things, but it was, we both are interacting, we're all learning together. So I just loved it. It was such a fun experience. And thank you all to everyone who was here, y'all, all the participants, like, for your energy, for your active participation throughout. Like, we've been here for 3 hours and like 45 minutes. Like, that's a whole lot of time. Like, especially if some of you have, like, are students and you have winter break, you want to chill, but you're in a 4-hour workshop, like, that's dedication. So thank you guys for being here on it really means a lot to us, and we hope you enjoyed the workshop.
Okay, just one final question. What do they do next if they want to keep going? Yamna,
Right.
you can jump in first.
So do you mean keep going as in looking up research, like looking to start a startup? Is that what I'm
Or just
hearing?
becoming entrepreneurs, doing more challenges?
So I think if this is something that you're serious about, look up online resources that you have, startup school, you have a lot of online resources. I think that would be my first thing. Also learn a bit more about, I think, like the industry itself, and then I think just keep participating in challenges, competitions, things like that. I think that is the biggest help, by the way. Just the more you get practical experience, I think that's always a good thing. That would be my thing. I think we have, like, I can share, like, I don't remember any off the top of my head, but I'll share my email if anyone wants to kind of go more into digital startups and things like that. I have a list of resources that I can definitely share with you, both from an online perspective as well as locally, what is happening within the region. So I'll definitely do that. But yeah, just, I think the main thing is just to keep learning. Honestly, it's just to keep learning. That's like the gist and summary of it. So yeah.
I just want to add one thing here. So in UAE now, a lot of like incubation centers like Shura have started high schools competitions. So like this year, sort of like they did one with the high schools, and one of the guys, I think, was from Pakistan, that won one of the prizes, was called Farat. It's like a startup. So you start seeing a lot of these competitions coming your way, and try not to hesitate to participate into those. You will fail, but you just don't have to give up. And one thing, all of a sudden, you'll see a spark, and you will be there. So you just have to keep moving on and just keep exploring, and
I absolutely like Tabish. Thank you for bringing that up because knowing that you might fail a few times in anything that you do, but especially as an entrepreneur, is so important and so important to accept that to be able to move on and keep trying new things until you're where you should be. So before I just let Mahreen and Simal conclude, I want to take a group photo for us. And the way I'm thinking, because there are a lot of people with their cams off, is if you could all at the same time, I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, put the thumbs up reaction, and then I'll take a screenshot. Okay. I'm a very creative person in Zoom photos now. So I'm going to count to 3. Everyone, Zoom the thumbs up reaction. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Everyone. There we go. I love this. This is incredible. I like it. You guys were on top of it. Love it. And okay, Mahreen and Simal, on to you, and then we close.
Right. So at the finally, we just wanted to give you some little competitions and challenges that you can participate to pursue this, to practice this even further. Therefore, I'm putting it in the chat right now. Obviously Entrepureka, I'm going to mention that, and then we have the Diamond Challenge, UCL Business Game, Nebula Challenge. There's a lot of case competitions, a lot of such competitions online that you can find, but here are just some of them. So if you all are really creative individuals, and we really recommend you all to continue participating in some such challenges because you all were great. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say at the end. Thank you all so much for being
Thank
here.
you so much for attending the workshop. We really loved everyone of you and your own ideas. And
Yes, this was the last workshop.
Yeah.
We basically concluded the whole series.
Yes, you did, and we will be back with more stuff. The academy will also be back, but I guess we all deserve a little break. And with that, we're going to close. Please don't forget your testimonials and a picture. It's really important. Email pyfdubai@gmail.com. All right, everyone, have a great night. Good
Bye. Good night, guys.
everyone.
Thank you all so much for being here.